Cool. Just an update Monday.
Update Monday,
Update Monday.
plus some demos of some cool tools that
Yes.
hopefully you then, sparks an idea for what you want to use them for.
Me or like the listeners?
The listeners, everybody in the
Oh,
world. Yep.
okay.
Yeah, all of them.
Sounds good. You want to get started or do you want me? I meant I have the
Probably
things that I
updates
wrote down.
first.
Well,
I
wait,
mean, my things
are
might
yours
be,
not updates?
mine aren't
I guess
updates.
yeah.
No,
Hmm.
they aren't like new, they aren't like what's happening in the world. So,
Well,
but they're
I mean,
cool and I'm excited to show
little
you.
as Jake Cal would say, housekeeping update.
Housekeeping.
We have now both an Instagram account and an X account for our AI Monday
Nice.
podcast. So people can go find us on there at AI Monday or AI Monday Pod.
The first
And
few Instagram posts looked fabulous. Well done.
yes, thanks. Yeah, I'm
That was fun.
still figuring out the layout, the
All
looks.
right.
So if you ever have any opinions, let me know. But
Cool, cool.
I'm happy with it for now. I want to post on there more often. Just like when I see a new AI thing, I build the graphics, I post it right away, and then a few days later talk about it on our podcast. And then so are yours like not updates? I guess I don't know, man.
Right.
Mine are kind
I
of
say we
stories,
start with the
but
updates. Stories are
we'll just
great.
start with me.
Okay. Sounds good.
So ChatGPT, this was like on like last Monday, so we like barely missed it. But ChatGPT released their operator, and have you seen or heard of that? I know
A
our dad
bit.
has talked about
Tell
it.
me
Yeah.
more.
Basically, it just like does not stop, and it'll do things online. So you could ask it to set up an email campaign, but unlike ChatGPT, where you're asking it for the email and it writes it out and you tweak it and you figure it out, you could say, set it up so through our account in SmartLead. So it'll go to SmartLead and then it'll ping you and it'll be like, hey, I need the credentials. And you send over the credentials and then it'll be like, cool. And then it'll keep going and you can watch it or it can run in the background. You could even close out the app and it'll keep running. But then it'll like, put in the information and it'll log in and then it'll start a new campaign and then it'll write out the emails. And then maybe it'll ping you again and be like, wait, who's your target market? Or if you haven't already set it, and maybe it needs help getting a list or something. But it'll just keep going until the task is done. And so if you need it to like demo tools, if you need it to book a flight, research something for you, it won't just look it up and give you an answer. It just keeps going until it does the task for you. So it's kind of fun because yeah, it's like it's doing research and then it hits somewhere where it literally hits. Oftentimes it'll hit a "Are you a robot?" like CAPTCHA test,
Yeah.
and then it'll ping you and be like, "Hey, can you do this?" And so you do it for it, and it's
Oh
like
my
thanks, and then it
gosh.
keeps going. And so
That's
it's
funny.
it's really cool, really amazing. It's only available to the pro version of ChatGPT right now, which is $200 a month instead of $20 a month. But Sam
Sure.
Altman, they announced that O3 was coming out soon. We are hoping for
Okay.
by the end of January, and O3 Mini will be the quick version. And I think he said something like 100 searches a week for Plus users, and people were kind of annoyed about that. So he was like, "Fine, we heard from you. We're doing 100 a day," and so they're doing
All
100
right.
prompts a day for that, and that's supposed to be even better than O1, and then also making Operator available to Plus users soon, hopefully, and some other cool features being available to Plus. So still giving
Nice.
things to the Plus users, but then meanwhile the Pro will probably get direct access to O3 Pro, and that'll be even crazier and more leveled up. So obviously
Yeah.
not leaving out the people that are paying a ton of money for it, but giving us the new tools pretty quickly. So
That's
but that's really
awesome.
cool. So our dad got access to it and has been using it, and it's like he was wondering because it's like I don't want to pay for this. It's expensive. But when you think about it in terms of hiring employees and you can see what it
Yep.
does for only $200 a month, it's like, wait, no, suddenly this is already returned. Like it's already worth it. So
Yeah.
even with some things that it, gets stuck on areas for improvement, it's already pretty much worth the cost, especially if you run a business where it can, handle a lot of work. So it could probably be even worth it to me technically, because I could probably do my job and save 4 or 5 hours on it. And then with those 4 or 5 hours, do even more work and get more done for my clients overall, or do different work and get, make more money, just get more things done. So, but sounds
Hmm,
like it's really cool. It's just basically the AI searching and task bot that doesn't stop. It just keeps trying to going until it figures it out. That
that's
was really
awesome.
really cool.
How exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to get access. Another note I have is just because a lot of people are talking about the race with China right now. And so under that category, I mentioned Stargate. Have you heard about Stargate?
Again, a bit here and there, but you got to tell me
Mentioned
more.
the title. Yeah. Basically,
Exactly.
it's going to be an American company. It's funded by other organizations like OpenAI. So it's not going to be like government funded, but supposed to get a lot of funding to it. They're saying $500 billion. We'll see. But for AI infrastructure, creating a bunch of jobs, and just making big clusters, physical campuses, and energy production, and all this stuff, just to basically excel our AI. Now that our government kind of cares
Right.
about,
I was going to
keeping
say
up
that's
with
the
other
main
people.
thing, right? Is just that our government leads is the goal.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah,
not right
that
now.
our country leads.
Not really. And so, yeah, DeepSeek. What about that one? Heard of that one? Because my dad's probably mentioned
Yes.
it. Yep.
Well, sure, yeah, but
Or just in
also
general.
your amazing Instagram post.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. Right.
Yeah,
You actually look at them.
yeah. I
Yeah,
do.
no, DeepSeek is basically there was like a Chinese company and the people did a side project and they managed to create an AI thing that was, fraction of the price of ChatGPT to like run it and yet just as good as O1, the thinking model. And so it's
Hmm.
open source. It's like 3% of the cost or less or something. It's like just as good. And I got on there today because I wanted to actually try it out. And it does write out its way of thinking, but instead of ChatGPT o1, where it's like analyzing data, fetching answers, restructuring answer, where it's like it like kind of says
Yeah.
like what it's working on. This says like, okay, the user wants to know about the Epic of Gilgamesh. That was the random prompt I gave it, and its impact on modern times. So let me start by recalling the basics. So then it starts like going. It's like it's thinking through thoughts in its head. Down the road, it was like giving examples. So it was like modern media, any recent adaptations, maybe films, books, or games that draw from Gilgamesh. Not sure of specific examples, but general references are okay. Need to structure this coherently. Start with a summary. Anyway, so it's just like I don't know.
Crazy.
It's
It's
so
like
much more
actually
like
a stream of thought.
almost a human stream of thought or brain thinking, and then eventually it like had all the information, and then the text is wider and bigger, and it gives the answer to what I asked.
That's
But
so cool.
yeah, it actually writes out its whole thinking process and writes it, and you can like follow along as it's thinking. Like, okay, how do we do that? What do we do if it's that? So it's cooler than O1 for sure. I don't know if it's better. I don't often use a thinking model. I want it to write an email. I don't need it to like. I don't use AI for brainstorming as often or things like that, where I'd want like a thinking model. But it seems
Yeah.
to work well, and people are saying it's as good. But yeah, but again, cheaper to run right now, open source and free. But Chinese companies, so even though the I mean API is free, American companies don't necessarily want to use it, just, 'cause China. But and then my last note was just because China's not only pulling ahead on like the cost for output ratio, but you need electricity to power data centers and you need data centers to power AI. And China's got us beat on electricity production and innovation like by crazy measures as well. So if they haven't,
Hmm.
caught up, however you're tracking it, then they definitely will soon if we don't pull ahead. So we do have some really cool
Yeah.
things, and obviously, like, whoa, they made O1, they've already caught up. But if O3 releases in a week and it's 10x or crazy times better,
Yeah.
we'll see. Then we've pulled ahead. But again, can they catch up to that sooner than we can pull ahead more? So
Sure.
it's just a race,
Sure.
but it's obviously cool. And now we have a government that's funding and promoting the competitiveness
That's
between
exciting.
us and
Yeah.
other countries.
Yeah.
So it's fun to watch all of that. David
Awesome.
Sachs in charge of the AI and crypto, and
Hmm.
hopefully that'll go well.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
yeah.
Cool.
All right, I have two more things. You said you had like several, right? Or do you wanna?
Well, I have just a few tools that I want to talk about. I was going to look into music AI more. So I went to that, we had that AI meetup, and so I got to hear about some fun tools that people are using. So
Right.
I wanted to talk about music AI, but I actually didn't get to playing with that one yet. So the one that I'll mention right here, and then the other two, I'll do like a little screen share demonstration of them after we do updates. But the one that I'll mention right here that was kind of fun that someone brought up, just randomly, it wasn't business related, was called Flavorish. Basically, what it is when you see those recipe videos on Instagram, or wherever, YouTube, uh, in the shorts, and it'll like speed through the recipe and make something that looks absolutely delicious. Do you get those on
Hmm.
your algorithm, or is it just me? I get those all the time. I'm always like,
I
oh man,
don't.
I guess I just like to look at food. Well, they're all over the place. And so what it does basically is you can save those videos, put them into Flavorish, and it'll like write out the menu for them. And it'll like build out like what you need for it and everything. So
Hmm.
it's kind of a funny thing of like I'm totally guilty of saving those videos and never looking back at them. And now you can just kind of have it all in one place and build your own. Hey, that looked delicious. Let's put it over here and get the recipe for it.
That
I
was
thought that
cool.
was kind of fun. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, back to updates.
Okay. This was like right before the podcast. I was looking into and hearing about AI Scribe, which is basically just different tools that basically hospitals are using more and more because they have to track all the information when they meet with patients, and they either do it like the next day and kind of forget about stuff in the morning, or they do it late at night and they're stuck at work for a while. So it's this like tedious thing of trying to write down all the information when they meet with patients. And AI tools they could just have, sitting off to the side, listening and taking notes, and then collect all the data and fill in all the areas that the doctors would normally fill in on the notes.
Yeah.
So it's this funny dynamic where hospitals have like a fax machine in one room, but the AI scribe in
Yep.
another, or in the same room, and they're both,
Hilarious.
so they're behind and ahead. They're usually like the slowest to adopt new technology though. So it's cool to see that full clinics and hospitals are already adopting that. And it's just one of those things where it's like that costs a lot of money to find someone who can do it, or just costs a lot of, or takes a lot of time. And it's kind of like AI translation too, where they're currently still trying to find some translator to meet with patients that speak a different language. And it's like, as soon as they can, use AI translators, they'll be saving a lot of money, saving a lot of time, and able to help a lot more people. So I hope that healthcare continues to adopt cool AI tools. Sometimes it's difficult because of all of the HIPAA and stuff, but
Yep, sure,
if it's
sure.
kind of a at least locally run model, then it's a little safer. But that was cool. Cool to
Yeah.
see yet another use of AI and actually being implemented, and a whole industry talking about it and being excited. And then the last thing I had was a story, or a bit of a story. It's also quick.
Okay.
You want me to do it? Are you just
Yeah,
gonna go last? Okay,
totally.
cool.
I just
Uh,
figured that was easiest since I'm showing things.
Sounds good. Um,
Okay.
so there's a Center for the Study of the New Testament in Germany, and
Hmm.
it's called what, CBGM, so coherence-based genealogical method. Anyway, they are using AI and different types of the same technology to trace readings between manuscripts. And I thought that was kind of cool because
Okay.
the main example, or the example, is that they were looking at like a fourth century manuscript, and then they'd see that on these, papers and manuscripts that they had from centuries before then, there were some of the same readings or lines or quotes or like different pieces. And so they'd be able to see that although this is from the fourth century, these ideas or these quotes or, these lines of information were from centuries earlier. So they're using AI to
Interesting.
basically spot the difference pretty much, or spot the similarities
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
between
totally.
manuscripts and different artifacts and such. So it's cool. It's like learning what to look for, and so it's not really the dating side of things, but when they're able to see this is from 100 BC or whatever, and see that another one's several hundred years away from it, but they're the same in some way, then you can kind of like pick out where the ideas came from and when they came
That's
from, and
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
Just because
maybe
it
some
can know
paper,
so much more at once than we can,
right?
Like
Yeah,
it can have all of that content in its brain. Just, oh, found those.
yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
it was really random. It was just a usage, another usage of new technology that was cool research happening in Germany. So
Hmm,
yeah. All right, cool.
that's
That's
awesome.
that's that's the last of my updates.
All right. Well, I need your help with this one, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot, so I can probably help if you can't think of anything. But I'm going to show you. Have you played with Lovable yet?
No, I still haven't.
Dude. So
All
that's
right.
why I'm showing you. I'm forcing this down your throat. And everybody else has to check this out because it's so cool. Here, let me share my screen. I'm not going to say it super drawn out like everyone does. Let me share my screen. Okay, I lied. I said it like that. Okay. Um, Nathan, can you give me an
Whoa, that's
idea
my
for a
name.
website?
Can I give you an idea for a website?
An idea for a website, yeah.
Oh no, that is putting me on the spot. I'm not a thinker.
I believe in you. Did you just ask
Um,
ChatGPT for an idea
no,
for a
but just give me
website?
1 second. It's thinking.
It's
Cosmo
thinking.
Quest. It's a whimsical mix of astrology, astronomy, and personal growth.
Oh, goodness me. Okay, so maybe like a fortune telling website.
That's
Is that
perfect.
where we're
But it
going?
has to
Okay.
do with Cosmo.
Build me a website called Cosmo. You said Cosmo Quest?
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna
I
be
I said that,
painful.
yeah.
Okay.
I came up with
Build
that.
me a website called, right, right. You came up with that. Called Cosmo Quest that can tell your fortune based on your birthday. I
And
don't
your
know how
shoe
astrology
size.
works, but that's part of it. And your shoe size. Okay, cool. All right, let's see what we got. It's building. This is what it looks like. So spinning up a preview. That's just only one prompt that we put in so far, but it's going to start building the app and that we could eventually take and put into a GitHub or something like that to be the
Are you
website.
paying
Okay,
for
so it's working on this.
are you
For
paying
Lovable,
for yeah,
you
a
can do 5 or 6
subscription?
prompts for free a day, but I did pay for it because I'm actually working on a bigger project that I could show you. It might seem boring, but it's really interesting to me. I could
You
show you,
told
but I
us
wanted to show
you
you the
talked about
beginning
it,
of this
but
first.
yeah.
Yeah, but I could show it. It might be interesting. Okay, so it's creating the design, looking at the features, some style, color palette, deep purples, midnight blues, gold accents, star-like particles in the background. It's going to be beautiful. All right, this is all the code, but let's see what it actually looks like. The biggest jump is probably that first prompt in for this
Hmm.
because it has to build all of this from scratch. From this point onwards, like for my last project, I did 67 prompts on it so far. And it's mostly just little tweaks, right? And some of them are the same little tweak because I'm still learning how to correctly prompt the
Right,
machine
yeah.
to get it to do what I want. Okay, we have our website, Cosmo Quest. Discover your cosmic fortune through the mystical alignment of your birthday and shoe size. Your birthday, your shoe size. Okay, so I'll pick a day that isn't my actual birthday. Let's say my birthday is today, January 26, 2025. The shoe size is just one
You're
half.
giving away
That's
that we're
hilarious.
recording this early,
Oh, I mean, the 27th. Whoops. It's
obviously.
AI Monday, guys. Okay, let's do the 13th. Okay. I guess I don't know what this is gonna do. So it has says it's gonna tell my fortune, but I don't know what it did in the background. This is interesting. The one I built besides this project has, like a more of a menu bar where you can kind of go to the
Right.
different pages and see what's happening. This is just I have to put in the information. The stars reveal that a meaningful connection will transform your perspective when you least expect it. So I don't know where it's pulling this from. This is super interesting. This is a very different project. Okay, new fortune. When I click new fortune, nothing happens. Okay, see, that's something that we'd have to fix. So now we've got a button that isn't working, and then we ask it for an edit. It thinks for a bit, it changes things, and then often it'll tell you, okay, this file that you keep asking for changes for is getting way too big. We need to simplify it. So ask me to simplify it, and then you just be like, simplify this file. And it's like, okay, let me break it up into a bunch of different files.
I used AI to make ClickFate, my website, and I would basically
Yeah,
ask for code and then put it in GitHub. So this is basically
right.
the middle or the second role that I was playing, but just doing it
It
for me.
is. Right. So
So,
instead of asking ChatGPT for that stuff, you could have just put in what you wanted for clickbait into this and it would have just built it for you. So it's kind of instead of doing that, bring code over here, bring code over here. And for me, it's hard to even know like, you were trying to show me that some of that stuff of like where the code goes once you've got it.
mhm.
But for people who are like me who don't know where to put the code once I've got it, you can put it in here. Okay, sorry. Usually it's faster than this, but it's having trouble. So I say I just want to show you the
Yeah, I
project
want to
that I
see
was
the other.
working on before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How much money is it?
I think it
Oh,
was $20 to have 100 prompts for a month. And I
okay.
got to come in and use the rest of my prompts because I haven't finished yet. Where are my projects? There we go. Okay. So I am, leading this team of Sunday school.
Classmate
Um,
scheduling.
that just looks great, doesn't it? Pretty sure
What
the
is this
word is
project?
assistant.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So it's for my teachers, right? And so this is super, super cool. I have, this is like I said, 67 prompts in. I don't think anything's broken at the moment. So let's just say it was Nathan. Your email is j@gmail.com. Why not? I mean, it's N probably because Nathan. Your phone number is 3, and you're an adult, you want to help in the nursery
Every
twice
other
a
week.
month. You prefer, nah, you don't have any preferred Sundays, but you'd still like to help. You're a teacher for sure. You don't have preferred classmates, but I did make that work so that if you put in a name, it'll pull from the list.
Mm,
And you don't have volunteer, same day volunteer preferences. Now, this is for like if you had, like, if you and your wife were going to volunteer, but in two different places, but you want to be on the same day. That's what that one's for.
I see.
Kind of interesting. Then I save your preferences. You end up in this admin list. Oh, there's all your information. So if I want to generate my schedule for January, I hit generate schedule and let's see if it worked for me or if this is broken again. Okay, beautiful. So this automatically took from our list and I'd put everyone in there, right? So I'd have all bunch of volunteers and it tells me, okay, we've got Nathan, a teacher in the nursery on the 26th of January, but we still need one volunteer in there. We're going to need two volunteers and one adult in the toddler room. We're going to need all, it's got all of the
Hmm.
volunteer numbers that I need, but I forgot and I accidentally just hit January. So let's go to February since January is almost over. And let's try this again. So I set the schedule up to be only Sunday mornings because that's all I need, right? And just anyway, as you can see, I've got this now fabulous scheduling tool for what used to take me, too much time putting people and organizing and like, okay, make sure I'm there on the same day as this person and make sure all the classrooms have a teacher and helpers and all the things.
Right,
This
yeah.
is just something that was specific to my job that actually practically is going to save me time.
No, this
You know
is
what I mean?
super cool.
It's not as fun as Cosmo Quest, maybe, but it took a lot of work to get to the point where now just like silly things like, oh, when I add someone, if I didn't say any preferred Sundays, it wouldn't put them on the list. So then I had to tell it, okay, if they don't have any preferred Sundays, put them on any Sunday. You know what I mean? Like all these
Hmm.
tricky little things that you don't think about, just all of these. And then as you can see, lots of refactoring into smaller components for better maintainability. Yeah, and the add volunteer list. This was a tricky thing too. I had to make this list to be able to pop up. And right now it doesn't have all my volunteers in there. But when it did, it shows all the volunteers specific to this age group. And then it
Mm,
shows the specific ones that checked back up. But it doesn't show anyone else because I don't want my whole list of volunteers here because that's gonna be a pain. Anyway,
hmm.
really interesting, so fun. So I actually like found a very practical use of AI. And again, this isn't exactly AI, this is building more of an algorithm, right? I'm not directly AIing this, but I'm AIing a program to help me with this. So that
I
was
mean,
really
this is
exciting.
basically direct AI, but whatever.
Pretty much. Okay, yes. It's
My
like
website was
yes.
less AI because I was actually putting the code in GitHub and having to like deal with
Sure.
it. This is just like
Okay.
AI, do it for me.
That's a good point. No,
So,
absolutely. And it's so fantastic. So my goal is to get this finished with the rest of my prompts for the month and then figure out a new project to do next month if I want to pay again. So this is lovable and I'll stop sharing right now. But yeah, the other one that I heard about is bolt.new and I want to check that one out too. So I'll make sure I have that one set up and ready to go maybe for next week potentially
sounds good.
and see
Can always
just
do
in
a
case
post
because it
about it
looks like
too.
they're Oh, totally. Yeah, that's a good point. But it looks like their pricing might be different, and maybe I can do more with them than I can do with Lovable for $0, which I like. So
That'd be
I'll
cool.
definitely check it out. But Lovable is so cool, dude. It's like I'm just
Your ideas are
not
coming to
good with
life.
code. Well, like yes, I could come up with an idea, but this is the future, guys. Your ideas. That was the other thing that came up at the meeting was great. Was people were just talking about how like there's literally nothing that's not accessible anymore. You can come
Hmm.
up with anything, and this can build it for you. This can, AI can help you with it. So cool. All
For
right, I know
real
we've just
though,
got like,
I
oh
can
yeah,
picture like using operator and lovable and just being like, hey, operator, go into lovable and then you give it your sign in info and then it signs up and it starts creating a website. And when every time lovable needs something, operator responds instead of you having to. And it's
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
I don't know, could be really
Just have
cool.
the AIs talk to each other and build your stuff.
Literally.
Absolutely. No,
So,
and I really appreciate what you said too about how it's going to actually save companies money to not have
hmm.
people doing this. And that's scary, awesome, all of the above. That's great.
But people can get jobs in this field too.
Oh, yeah,
And so it's not like it's
totally.
going to only take away jobs. It'll present a lot of new ones as well. So,
Totally. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I know we've just got a minute left on the recording. So that's all that I had, but I'm kind of excited and, fired up because I found practical ways to use this, even for my job, which you'd think has nothing to do with AI. So that's pretty cool.
Anything with organization can be,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Anything administrative, done, gone. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, cool. I'm excited to do more too. I've been working on a bunch of social media and AI stuff, so I'm having fun. It's good. All
Yay, that's awesome.
right, cool. See
All
you next
right.
week. Wait, you want to thank the
Thank you,
listeners?
listeners. Yeah, I did it. Thank you, listeners.
I did it. I did it.
And we'll see you next Monday.
Cool.
You don't want to end up like your sister over there, me over there.